What was the first video game that got you addicted? Addicted to play video games. For me it was Tomb Raider 2 and I was fascinated by the game design and graphics at the time. Age of Empires 2. Willolo. A fellow scholar I see. Narwani. Vulalu. Rogan? Ayoyo. Shishhu. I heard this. Pangier. I found Age of Empires 2 in the discount bin at Walmart for $5 as a young teenager. Best $5 ever. I got the first one and Roller Coaster Tycoon in a cereal box. Shit slapped. Ah yo 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 yo. Wood please. How do you turn this on? Hell. All my childhood was spent in strategy games like Settlers 2, AOM, Entente, Empire Earth, Battle Realms, Disciples 2, The Nations, HOMM 4, and, damn, where are they now? This and Sims 1. Definitely a huge part of my childhood. And I still play it from time to time. Does it still hold up? Same here. Feeling bod. Og AOE for me. I can't remember if I started on AOE 2 and went to AOM or the other way around, but man, those were such a time. The dorm room friendships and rivalries broken and created by that game. Aztec on Apple II. The graphics were $% and asterisk equals divided by times plus etc. Yep, I am old. My first game ever was on the first suitcase computer. A K-Pro. And of course I played Pong on the original Atari. Good times for RTS, those were the golden years. It feels to me like the genre is dying right now. Me too! Exclamation mark. Chiron, Centaur in particular in that series for me. I play this game till to this day. I fell in love with AOE 2 when I was 8 years old. But when I discovered Warcraft 3 a year or two later, that's when I was infinitely more addicted to the RTS genre. Start the game already. Same. My dad and I used to play together for hours. I played the shit out of this game on my dad's PC when I was like 10 or so. Great game. Age of Empires, Demo Edition for Windows 98 got me into gaming. So many hours of my life spent on this one. Was playing AOE 2 yesterday. Still so fun. Watched my mom play this when I was a kid and I got hooked. Shit was fun as hell. Start the game already. Lol. Fallout 3. I remember 0% of what I learned in school that year, but if you need someone to recite Three Dogs Radio lines word for word, I'm your man. Until next time. This is Three Dog. Awoo. And you're listening to Galaxy News Radio. Bringing you the truth, no matter how bad it hurts. And now, some music. We're Radio Free Wasteland and we're here, for you. Time once again for a public service announcement. Musical notes. Hey everybody. Did the news get around? About a guy named Butcher Pete. Oh, Pete just flew into this town. And he's chopping up all the women's meat. Musical notes. He just keeps hacking, and whacking, and smacking. He just hacks, whacks, chopping that meat. Thank you for upping the font size, made my evening XD. Also Fallout 3. I was a guy who only played sports games and Call of Duty until I played it, and then it was like my entire perception of gaming changed. Yup, 12-year-old me was mind blown. Then I thought, let me go try Oblivion. Safe to say it was a good year for me. I knew I played that game too much when I nearly picked up discarded bottle caps while walking around my actual city. Tears of joy. Fallout 4 is the sole reason I recognize so many oldies. Released freshman year of high school. My whole group of friends would get together in the morning talking about the various things we found in that game the previous night. We did this for like a few months straight and it was amazing. I was stuck on the PS2 era for way longer than most people. I didn't have access to a next-gen console until like 2016. The PS4 had come out in 2013 and I played an Xbox 360 for the first time 3 years after that. LMAO. Anyways, the first game I tried out was Fallout 3. Literally fucking changed my life. I played it non-stop for an unbelievable amount of time. I never looked at video games the same way. Thanks to the guy at GameStop who recommended this game to me in middle school. LMAO, my grades were poor, so my mom took away my PC, but she didn't know what a PS3 was, and I finally had an excuse to try Fallout 3. God damn, I was hooked from there on out when I found out you can pick locks and kill NPCs for their stuff. I had so much fun roaming the Capital Wasteland. Still my favorite Fallout to this date. Maybe it's the nostalgic, first RPG experience that holds it dearly for me. First game that came to mind. It was my first Bethesda game, and the world they built was so enthralling. Bought Skyrim when it first came out because I saw it was the same developer. Good times. Don't feel the Yao Guai. That is all. I played the usual games for a kid from my era, including Fallout 1 and 2, Wood, Mario, Doom, GoldenEye, GTA, Halo, Spyro, that kind of shit. I was never a chronic gamer as a child, but more of a 3-hour a week with my little brother gamer. More dickin' around than playing. Until my 18th birthday. I was big into collecting TV shows and got a 32-inch Toshiba as a gift from my dad and $300 plus in gift cards from my aunt. I went to Walmart to look at DVDs and a Blu-ray player when I happened up the Xbox game's case. There was some guy playing the demo games while I just stood and watched. I was blown away and asked him how much one costs. He told me I could get a used, refurbished one for cheap at the GameStop next door. I went and bought one without knowing what games they had until I got there. I looked for hours and finally happened upon Fallout 3. I'd played the originals for a little while as a kid and thought, why not? Bought it without looking at the back and GTA 4. Needless to say that when I started Fallout 3 my mind was blown. I had no idea it was going to be from the perspective it was. Within a week I was playing 5 hours a day every day, and it only escalated up until now. Just last week I play 17 hours in one day of Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Some games can be all-consuming for me, especially Bethesda games. Warhammer and Ubisoft. They aren't just RPGs to me anymore, they're completionist simulators. And I can't get enough. Man, I really miss getting high and losing myself in FO 3 and NV. Sober now, but those worlds are just legendary. FO 3 will hands down be one of the best games ever. NVA close second. I was in 8th grade and got the Xbox 360 that year for Christmas along with Fallout 3. What's even crazier? Before I even knew about the series or played the game, I was big into collecting Coke memorabilia and bottles. Along with being really into 40s big band, swing music. Fallout 3 was the first of the franchise for me, and is my favorite franchise of all time. I have thousands of hours across Fallout 3. NV, and 4. I even bought all 4 Magic the Gathering Commander decks and a booster box. Solely because they were Fallout themed. Looks like I need to start up another playthrough. Been a while. Cold sweat smile. It's nice to see old games with a loyal fanbase. I nearly failed out of school that year. I put 1,000 hours into it in a year. Didn't know anything about Fallout. Didn't see any reviews. Was just in GameStop and thought it looked cool. Played it the first night for a couple hours. Then put it away unplayed for weeks. Got sick and decided to give it another shot while I was bored. Absolute mistake. It controlled my life. I still love it and play it. Dying for a remaster. Same. Couldn't think if it was Half-Life 2 or Fallout 3. Straight facts. I no longer play Bethesda games. But the beginning of Fallout 3 was amazing. The first steps out of the vault are unforgettable. Fallout 2. I love you. Hey. Fallout 2 for me. I missed 2 terms in my uni because of it. Always killed that dude on sight. Random story for people that have nothing better to do. My first playthrough ever, I went to the Super Duper Mart. Killed all the raiders. One of them had the fire lance on him. Wasted all the ammo without realizing what I had and didn't use it again until I got the DLCs. 3 dog www. Just hopped off a 3-hour binge. First played the game when I was in middle school. Still remember how it grabbed me and didn't let me go for hours at a time. This, even NV and FO4 does not have the same feeling when I played back then. FO3 is my first Bethesda and FO game though. Super Mario 64. I still remember staring in awe at the 3D textures and liquid metallic warp pools. Chasing around that damn bunny for ages. Exclamation mark. I am 14 but yeah fuck that guy. What was his name again? Mips. https://mario.fandom.com/wiki/mips. My favorite game of all time. It's more than a game for me and more like an important part of my childhood and current passions. My brother in Christ. I just played this again for the first time in 3 years. Going for that 120 stars. Haven't gotten it yet. It holds up astoundingly well for a game released in 1996. Nothing besides Zelda even comes close in terms of lasting quality from the N64 era. Not even some of my favorites like Star Fox. My hands were sweating more than when I'd play Souls-like games on some of the red coin runs where you have to balance or fall off the map. Super Mario 64 was the last game that blew my mind. I remember playing it at a kiosk in Blockbuster Video. The last game to blow my mind before that was Super Mario World for SNES. One of the first games I played. It was fascinating to me as a 5-year-old. I was so scared to explore the shipwreck with the sea monster. Truly addicted? World of Warcraft. That shit nearly derailed my post-secondary education. Same. That game sucked many PPL in like a void. I don't want to know how many hours I have in WoW since vanilla. I skipped only one add-on. Pokemon Red. Pokemon Blue for me. It was my cousin's and he let me use it at a family reunion. I disappeared and wasn't seen for 2 days. I needed 2H alone to get out of the starting town because they told me I should not walk into the grass without Pokemon. My first RPG. Next big problem was that stupid bush you couldn't cut. I really liked being that stupid and discovering everything. Too bad as an adult that rarely happens anymore. Same. Hello 90s brother, sister. How is your back? Mostly good but when it's bad it is really bad. I was born in '06 and my back is not doing well. Mostly the same as it was 16 years ago. Mostly fine. One of the main reasons I started going to the gym was so I could fix my back pain. If you strengthen your back it'll stabilize and relieve a lot of your pain. I lift 4 days a week brother person lifting weights. Bet I respect that. Now that's probably why that bitch hurt so much. Lol going hard and takes long to recover. It's okay it only hurts when I wake up in mornings and when I stand too long. Same here. It was my first proper video game when it came out and I've been gaming since. Happy I didn't have to scroll too far down this time. Pokemon Red got me into gaming as well. We owned a Sega before that and I remember playing The Little Mermaid and I believe Quackers as an even younger kid but Pokemon Red got me hooked. One of the goats of gaming. Yeah, I had to learn how to play so I could teach my 6-year-old. Got me into gaming. Yup. Mom came home with Red version, which was my first video game when I was 5. And a brand new Game Boy the day Red Blue released in the US. Today, half my office is filled with Pokemon. I have tens of thousands worth of cards. And now playing Scarlet, Violet with my wife. Safe to say the addiction is strong now almost 32. It was this and or Final Fantasy Adventure. The Game Boy was the first gaming system I owned and played both of those games so much as a kid. This And maybe also Tamagotchi on the playground in school. I still play Yellow every few years. I'll re-download it on my phone. Def lost a lot of sleep playing Yellow with my little GBC light under my blankets. I would sneak out of my room early and load up the 64 to play some Coliseum too. Got my booty clapped a few times caught doing that lol. Same. My parents got me a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red. And that was all I needed for years. Later I got Pokemon Crystal, which blew my mind when I first crossed from Kanto to Johto. Or vice versa. I forget. I also was playing Doom secretly before. I think that. But very sparingly cause I was like 7 and it gave me proper spooks. It was included in some bootleg CD my parents got from who knows here. Along with some edutainment stuff. Same here. I would walk around while my family grocery shop and walk into things while I explored Kanto. I'd sneak it with me to school and we'd link battle at recess. It was amazing and led to a lifelong video game passion. Or addiction. Whichever lol. The ultimate AAA battery killer, my little Game Boy Pocket is still kickin'. Yes. Good call but blue. I still remember where my mom hid it. Bought it as a birthday present. Around that time Gauntlet Legends gave me and my best friend countless hours. Maybe the biggest first co-op game for myself. The Gears of War franchise in particular, the first one convinced same best friend to go out and buy an Xbox that day. When he moved a few hours away it was gaming every night to Gears 2 while streaming How I Met Your Mother that helped keep us close. Now he has 2 kids under 6. My wife just finished a dance class with his wife. Crazy how gaming has followed throughout my life. I also jailbroke my first PlayStation so I could download games onto blank CDs so I'd rent them from Blockbuster and build a little collection. Yup, this is it. Absolutely loved Pokemon Crystal. Haha, you ain't lying, man. It was never the same when I figured out the cheat to get all max level Pokemon surfing on the edge of Brock's gym. First core game I felt hooked on was most likely Diablo 2. Played some N64 games earlier but I could put them down. D2 was giga addicted to the point of life-altering my school performance. Same Diablo 2 for a stupid amount of hours per week and for many years. I still play LOL. I'm still hooked with D2R 20 years later. At its core, Diablo 2 is basically gambling. It's a slot machine of what item could you possibly find next if you go here or farm this boss. I sometimes get stuck in that, just one more run, loop. I tell myself I'll stop but then the voice in the back if my head says, yeah but what if next run you find a jaw rune? You're always chasing that next good prize. It's the exact same parts of your brain being triggered as a gambling addict in a casino. Games like Diablo are where the use of addicted is actually extremely accurate. It's not even the fun gameplay. Even though it is fun, that's keeping you playing. You're just chasing endorphin releases from winning prizes. Credit to the original D2 team for making the itemization so great in this game. It's why D3 and D4 don't really compare. The itemization in 3/4 is poor. The prizes aren't worth chasing so it doesn't make you want to keep playing. LOD was my first time sync outside of Pokemon Gold. What a world I stepped into. Same. I started with the original. I still play although it is the modded Project Diablo 2 version now. I remember having to get multiple copies because of losing the jewel case with the CD key published on JT. The original Diablo was the first PC game I bought with my own money. I had no idea what it was. I just thought the box art looked cool so I bought it. I played the hell out of that game. Got all those 16-hour nights on Battle.net open. Trading. Killing. Showing off my all-white armor. Remember the hacked items? What a time to be 10. Oh yeah, that shit was digital crack to me. Luckily DAOC was digital heroin injected onto my eyeballs so I could cut down on D2. Diablo 2 was the first game that I needed to play, even when I didn't want to. I'm really glad that happened during the mostly gen ed years of college. Yup. Same lol, started with Super Mario 64, but Diablo 2 made me a gamer and kept me at home. After that it became WoW, which was the logical next step after no lifting Diablo. Man, there was that dupe hack moment, a friend started dropping SoJS and wizard spike rings, etc. Just being in that chat room, seeing people's gear, wondering how or what that was. Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. I was going to say Command and Conquer until I read this comment. My brothers and I were absolutely addicted to Duck Hunt. Clay shooting with the gun was fun too. You probably know this, but your opponent can control the duck movement when you're shooting. What? Since when? Exclamation mark. Since April 1984. Since the last update. When I found out you could control the ducks with the second controller, mind blown. Hello fellow dinosaur. NES. Christmas 1988 grin. Yeah man. The moment I touched the controller, I was hooked. I wasn't even allowed to have video games at my house, so I acted like a true addict when I was at my friend's house. Sleepover? I'm up at 5:30, I'm playing video games. I'm old too. Between the pack-in-cart, Legend of Zelda and Metroid, I became addicted as a teen. Played a lot of Zelda too, but Mario Brothers was my first, so technically it got me addicted. Cold sweat smile. This is mine. I played games before this, but Super Mario was the first game my parents had to force me off the Nintendo and go to bed. World of Warcraft. GTA 3. It wasn't my first game by a long shot. I had a Genesis and SNES, but it was the first one that got me to sit down and play for hours. I even had Driver and Driver 2, but for some reason GTA 3 was just so much better than anything I had ever played to that point. Same grin, thumbs up. Wolfenstein 3D. I think. Then Doom 1993 came out and I was like, well, that's it. Graphics can never get more realistic than this. Lol, that's what thought about Duke Nukem 3D. Same. I remember that the fact that you could smash toilets and throw money to strippers basically felt like it's a sandbox game where everything is possible. The graphics are extremely impressive for the time. How do you feel, 20 years later? You got me. It was the best that hardware of the time could do. That's how I felt about GoldenEye. StarCraft. Spawn more overlords. You must construct additional pylons. Additional supply depots are required. Was looking for this. I don't know how many hours I have played StarCraft 1, but it taught me 3 things. I was able to understand English based on context. I was beginning to learn it at that age. I could talk to strangers on the internet and it was fun. GGWP. So many memories playing Helm's Deep custom maps online. Show me the money. Operation CWAL. Modify the phase variance. Black sheep wall. Food for thought. This made me smile. Yes. I was so mind blown by the online play and custom maps. Even my mom would say, "You want a piece of me?" Boy. Countless hours and the best part of my teenage years. Knights of the Old Republic really changed things for me, even though I had gamed a lot before that. The first game I replayed multiple times and got obsessed with. Same for the sequel. Made working on the remake recently and having that team dissolve all the more epically tragic. But at least it kicked off a cool career path for me. Counter-Strike 1.5, 1.6. World of Warcraft Vanilla. I was already a little bit of a gamer, but man, when I got into Warcraft, that was a whole other level of time and dedication. I blinked and 3 summers were gone. Almost forgot about a friend's b-day party. Haunts me to this day cause this was the first time I realized how much this game can drag you in. Welp, this is gonna really date me. Arkanoid. There's a handful of us old ones in here. Well, at least it's not Pong. I did, in fact, post Pong as my answer. And not as a joke. I was hooked as soon as I got to play it in 1976. Fable. I couldn't put the game down. It was my first RPG. Yes. Actually see the character change appearance over time. Based on your choices. Classic. No win or loss. Come what may. Chicken chaser. Are you just gonna stand there like a lemon? Your health is low. Do you have any potions? Or food? I love it. It was really good. Battlefront 2, 2005. I was only born in 2004. But this. I played it when I was about 6 or 7. I think. And I'd stay up all night playing for a couple weeks. Battlefront 1, and I was not old enough to play it, but damn, those were the days. OSRS. Scrolled to find a mention of RS. For me it was definitely RS2. Also RuneScape. But very early on. I remember starting back in 4th grade. Maybe 200 people in total playing on the only server they had. The PvP at the edge of Lumbee was so intense. Have you tried playing old school RuneScape? It takes you back. I think they're talking about RuneScape 1. Specifically. The first version of RuneScape, which is older than the game OSRS is based on. Look like this. https imager.com/a/nexc8jzz. Yup, that's it. OSRS is what I think of as modern RS, haha. We never stop playing, we only take really long breaks. I'm in the middle of one of the cyclical, I'm quitting but not really, phases. I'll no doubt be addicted again in a few months. Final Fantasy VII. So this 10-page GameFAQs guide specifically about chocobos that I printed off says that to get a gold chocobo I need to breed a black chocobo with a wonderful chocobo. Now how do I get those? Yeah mom, I'll be down in a minute. Lol, so much. I say FF7 introduced the concept of grind to a whole generation of us. Greatest video game ever made. As much as I love 7, I think X tops it and is definitely underrated. My main issue with X is I didn't like the story as much. I loved the characters and gameplay. Also how fast it all ends. I was a little shocked when I beat it. I was like, that's it. I dunno, I guess I am in the minority. For me it's 8, 7, 9 in that order. I never beat 9. But I did love the setting and system. I just got tired of the game right near the end. Like in the final dungeon and just not wanting to play cause Steiner's best weapon is unobtainable. Then I read how to get it and just lost interest. I'm a completionist and not getting that soured my view of the game. I feel like you have to speed run it or never go for everything. That and the early stealing was painful. I want your stuff first, boss monster. Gimme. Not 100 attempts later. You see the Memoria project video of what a modern X could look like? No. Haven't heard of it. I'll check it out. Tops it? No, but underrated? Yes. Obviously just my opinion. It definitely released late in the PS1's life and was overshadowed by X. I can tell it is definitely a love letter to the franchise. Yay, without a doubt. X is a masterpiece level JRPG. I would say that FFV, X are all incredible and the golden era of these games. OMG, I was literally just thinking how underrated 9 is in the series and then I saw your comment. Personally my fav is 7. It has a special place in my heart as for me it was that game. I imagine for lots others too. That got me into RPGs. I was thinking how I found 8 quite a boring game. Popular emo because it rode the success of 7. And after that, when 9 was released, it came out to much less hype. But I honestly believe that 9 is a much stronger game than 8 and 9 is often not considered WH. And discussing the best game FF has to offer, but it's an absolute gem of a game and sadly overlooked so much.